We are back. Welcome to Esther's Breeze, where we sit back, chat, and shoot the breeze. We are so excited for tonight's show. I just want to give a big shout out to PAX Management and to Jenny DeHame, who is actually just recently celebrated a birthday. So happy birthday again to you, Jenny. A huge thank you to my partner in crime and my background techie, Mr. Fernando Renzo, to publicist. Oh, there he is. To publicist extraordinaire, Mr. Stephen Joyner, and to my mentor and good friend, and someone who happens to know our guest very well, Mr. Robert D'Alessio. Esther's Breeze is available on the Esther's Breeze YouTube channel, on Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel, and on Esther Brzezinski's Facebook profile page. The audio is then extracted and uploaded to all audio platforms. I'm so excited for our guest tonight, Pilot Bob. Our guest on Esther's Breeze is none other than Pilot Bob. Pilot Bob and his new podcast and YouTube channel are all about aviation. Pilot Bob Dallas, otherwise known as Robert D'Alessio, is not an actual pilot, but rather a huge aviation fan. His passion for airplanes goes back to his teen years when he became fascinated with flying after the DC-10 operated by American Airlines assigned to Flight 191 crashed on May 25th, 1979. He has become extremely passionate and knowledgeable of the aviation world, and now he is sharing his expertise with all of us. Let's bring him on. Hey, Pilot Bob, aka Robert D'Alessio, how are you?
Esther, look, whenever I'm around you, I'm always excited. There's always something good, happening. Wow, I'm just thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your show. And yes, I would like to wish a happy birthday to our good friend and producer of Rob's Inner Circle, Noon Hour Out of the Box, our good friend Jenny Duhame. And you have an upcoming birthday this Saturday.
Yes, I do. I absolutely do. I'm very excited. It's a biggie. And yeah, we're kind of doing a little getaway to celebrate. And I can't wait to do that. And Robert or Bob, have you noticed my background? I made this specially for you.
That is so cute. I just hope that those planes are not going to collide. One's going to
I
have
know.
the TCAS system is going to have to be working. That would be the traffic collision avoidance system.
Okay. Well, this could also explain all the migraines I've been having. So we all know your alter ego as Robert D'Alessio. My question is, how did Pilot Bob actually evolve?
Well, that's a great question. This goes back, like your introduction, it's my teen years. I always was fascinated with aviation. I would look at planes up in the air. I always thought, like, wow, how did these things fly? And then, as eerie as this may sound, and please forgive me for, I don't know if it sounds weird or whatever, I became very, very passionate about aviation on the day of May 25th, 1979, when the ill-fated jet, the registered N110AA, it's a DC-10 belonging to American Airlines. It was slated to fly from Chicago to Los Angeles. And such a a very sad day in aviation. And I'm still choked up when I think of it today. What happened is that the plane took off and there was some maintenance issues. McDonnell Douglas at the time had some, specific ways of doing things. And at the airline company, they figured they can cut 200 man hours and saving a lot of money taking shortcuts. And that was like the biggest mistake that could ever happen. And I got this information from Mayday, by the way. I'm a big fan of the show. We can get to that a little bit later on. So what happened is that as the plane was taking off, and coincidentally, for the first time in aviation, American Airlines were pioneering a new system, the entertainment system. The passengers can actually see inside the plane as the plane is taking off. They had the cockpit view.
Hmm.
And that just so horrendous. Just thinking of what happened is that the plane, as it climbed, the number one engine, that would be the engine to the left of the captain, it detached from the wing. It went over the wing, ripping some essential hydraulic systems, the oils that were falling from that wing, and the plane just went sideways. It banged to the left, and it ended up crashing into the ground, unfortunately. And I'm just thinking of all of those people inside the plane watching their fate take place as the plane just slammed into the ground. It's just such a sad day in aviation. And at that point, I just like became fascinated. It's the fascination doesn't come, because of the crash itself and the horror of it. Is that I'm telling myself, I go, why did this plane crash? What happened? I have a very inquisitive mind. I also want to find things out and how I can make them better, how can I make them safer. And that happened May 25th, 1979. And for a month, the airplanes were all grounded. The FAA grounded all DC-10s, and they wanted to find out what was going on. And they found out there was a pin that came out from the pylon, and that there were some cracks inside the engine mount, and they were recalling those planes and changing all those mounts. And finally, that's May 25th, the incident happened, grounded for a month. I'm flying on a DC-10 on an Alitalia jet going to Italy, and we hit a massive air pocket. We must have dropped maybe 3,000 feet. And we were just sure we were all going to die. And I go, as the plane is falling, I had time to think back to the American Airlines Flight 191 that crashed in Chicago. Is my fate sealed? I go, oh my God, And so as that was happening, I had time to think of this. And then when we touched the ground, I did it the way the Pope did it. I actually kissed the ground. I'm 16 years old at the time. And there's a whole bunch of people like looking at me, my parents saying, what the hell are you doing there? And it's like, I was so happy to be on the ground. So from that moment on, I told myself, I go, I want to know more about aviation. I want to find out more what's going on with these birds over here. And I became more and more passionate. And as time went on, I started learning about planes. Back in the day, like in 1979, it's not like today. You go on the internet, you have a whole bunch of information all over the place. I was going through newspaper clips. I was buying magazines. I was watching TV shows, and it was a lot harder to get information back in the day than it is today. So I as time went on, I just like the passion just grew more and more and more. And then the next thing I told myself, I know so much about aviation. And I'm watching all these aviation shows on YouTube. And I told myself, why can't I have my own show? So that's what ended up happening. As I ended up on Saturday mornings putting some of that information. I would put these little clips saying, the planes, these are the lights in the plane. This is what this light does. That's what that light does. And I told myself, if these guys can do it, they have got their own aviation show. Why can't I? I have enough knowledge to do it. And plus, I have a lot of people backing me up that could always give me more information.
Absolutely. I was wondering, you're obviously an aviation enthusiast, but why didn't you ever become an actual pilot yourself?
That's a great question. The reason is, even back in the day, it is very, very costly to take aviation courses. Very costly. Practical and also theory. It takes a long time. At my age, it's kind of late. We're talking nowadays easily about $50,000.
You're
the whole
kidding.
thing.
I had no idea.
And my parents, first of all, they're afraid of flying, just like I am, by the way. And they said, "There's no. We're going to put you at risk." We'll get to that in a second. That is the biggest irony of it all. I'm so afraid of flying. This is so crazy. So they said that, there's no damn way we're going to put you up in the air and have you at risk. Yeah, there's a nice Airbus A330 taking off there. You see the airport in the background. He's probably at 1,200 feet at that moment. He's retracting the flaps, and the landing gear is about to be retracted as well. And then also, I was not very good in math at school because pilots are always calculating the fuel, the weight, the distance, and all that stuff, the winds, crosswinds. I just don't have it for math. But the fun part about it is I may not have become a airline pilot, but my daughter is an aircraft technician at Bombardier
Yeah,
and
that's amazing.
on the Global 7500.
That's so interesting. So I understand that you collect models of airplanes and other vehicles as well, but we're interested to see those models that you have.
So you want to see my model?
I want to see it. I'm dying to see it. I've heard so much about them.
Okay, well, here's one of my models. This here is an MD-11. This would be the next generation of that DC-10 that crashed in Chicago. Yeah, there you see the engine detaching. This is like a simulation, computer simulation. This would be the next generation. This is an MD-11. The reason why it's an MD-11 is because they have these winglets at the tips over here. Back in the day, the DC-10 didn't have that. So, and there was also a plane that was similar to this one here. It was the Lockheed L-1011 TriStar, which was a direct competitor to this plane. And the way you can differentiate them is that the DC-10, this one here, the motor goes right through the tail, whereas the L-1011, it goes down in an S. So the exhaust is coming down here. And the other reason why I bought this plane is because I'm a huge fan of the movie Castaway. And Wilson was flying on this particular plane. So that's it for the MD-11. So I'm going to be putting you aside. And that's a 1/400 scale, by the way. Okay, this is an Airbus A330, very similar to a plane that was involved in a famous incident. I'll be showing you that plane in a second. So this is it's a different plane. It's not very comparable to the Boeing 767 because on the Boeing 767 they have what they call that steering wheel. It's called a yoke. In the Airbus, you have a joystick. You get the impression of playing a video game. So they're very different in terms of performance. They're not the same thing, but still a very nice plane. And this one here is a newer version. It's also got winglets as well here. And it's also a 1/400 scale model. My next one here, this is a Boeing 767. It's a little bit stubbier than the 330. You take a look at it. It's very similar. And the Boeing, like I said before, it's got the yoke, whereas the other one, it's got a joystick. So you get the impression you're playing video games. I like this one here. I call this a puppy. This is an Airbus 320. And I bought this when I was going to the Dominican Republic a few years ago on the plane, the duty free. I don't know if they're still available, but I bought this quite a while ago. So I call this a puppy. It's a 320. It's a smaller version of the airplanes. This seats between, it goes up to about 150 passengers. And finally, this is my prized possession over here. Robert Pichet, who was a guest on my show. I attended his 20th anniversary of the incident where he lost both engines at 33,000 feet. Actually, lost the second one at 29,000 feet.
Wow.
And I attended that event and I bought this plane over here. What's particular about it is that it was Flight 236 and 236 of these particular planes were made. So I'm one of the 236 owners of this particular plane. If Fernando could show the picture in the background with our pilot, Robert Pichet, that was actually Robert Pichet. If you look right behind him, he's got the #1 series of the plane. So from 1 to 36. I wanted to have either #1 or 236. They were both taken. So I settled for series number 52 because that is the year of birth of my hero, Robert Pichet.
Those are absolutely fascinating.
And I also have a big love for buses.
Yes, I've seen some of your models. You have to show us some of them. They're absolutely gorgeous.
This is a beautiful replica of the buses that were rolling in Montreal. This is a 1972 GMC. The model is a TDH 5307N. I'm a freak for these models here. I mean, it looks pretty accurate, but what bothers me is that it's not very accurate. You look in the back,
yeah,
tail lights. It's supposed to be 4 red taillights.
Right.
That the yellow ones were introduced in 1978. This is in 1972. They're a little bit quick on the gun. I also have another version of a GMC New Look. And this here is the bus that I drove on the south shore of Montreal. That's a pretty accurate replica of the bus. And again, this guy has got the yellow lights in the back. No, that bothers me, but I have to live with it.
Look what Sonia writes. Oh my God, I can't believe how much Robert knows about airplanes.
I love Sonia.
We didn't know either. And so this leads me to the next question. And you touched on it. Oh, you have one more, of course.
I got 2 more.
My goodness.
I got this one here. Okay, this here is wow. That's a beautiful model. I could practice.
That is gorgeous.
Sleep with these things here.
Love it.
There you go. And I got one last one. It's the more modern ones. This is a Nova bus.
Ooh.
I like that.
I like it too.
There you go.
Oh, I want to come over and play.
Enough of the buses. We're talking planes tonight.
That's okay, but your passion is obvious, and you touched on this before, but I'm curious as to what led you to actually start having a YouTube channel and podcast for Pilot Bob.
I told myself, look, I know so much about planes, and I love informing people. I got a background in journalism. I studied journalism. I'm a producer. I do films, radio work, broadcast, whatever. And I just love entertaining and I love informing people. So I told myself, there's so much to know. And why not share I don't want to keep it for myself. I want to share my knowledge with everybody out there, give everybody a chance to get in on the fun. And if anyone has any questions, they can go on all of my social media links. I will be more than happy to answer. I answer everybody's questions. Personally, I take it upon myself to make sure everyone is answered. And I just love sharing my knowledge. I don't know, that's me sitting on in the cockpit of a 737. Yeah, that's a recent picture we took.
Oh, I love it. Looks great. So tell us about what kind of material and guests and information that we'll be seeing on Pilot Bob.
Well, I've already started. I've interviewed about 5 pilots. I'm going to be interviewing flight attendants, flight directors, cargo handlers. I'm already in contact with some travel agencies. I want to have a travel agent's perspective of what there is to know about flying, traveling, exactly what it is you need to know. There's a lot you need to know. You have to have a shot, just in case, you get some kind of a flu down there, especially if you go down the southern destinations. Very easy to get very sick. You have to know not to stay out in the sun too much because you can get a sunstroke, and that is not funny. Believe me, I scrapped an entire vacation with that. My wife back at the time, she spent too much time in the sun. We had 7 days, spent 2 days on the resort and 5 in the hospital. So
absolutely awful.
So I'll be interviewing anything to do with the aviation industry.
That's amazing. So when can we expect to see the first episode?
Our first episode is slated to come out in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And for now, the format is going to be an episode a month. Depends on the demand, how it's going. If I fall back on what I'm seeing on the tendency on TikTok, it might go down maybe 2 weeks because I've been putting up some videos and I've been getting some. Is it surprising? I don't know. Is it fake? Call it what you want. I'm getting numbers out there that I wasn't really expecting. And right now, it's thanks to you, thanks to your encouragement, and thanks to your influential influence. We can call it that.
Yeah, they are doing extremely well. You only have 2 posts up, little videos, and they each have, one has like 1,300 views, the other one has 1,033 that you just put out, and that's amazing, which also indicates the interest in aviation and pilots, etc. There is a huge community of pilots on TikTok, and now they are expanding to 10-minute uploads. So in fact, you can do even some little mini podcasts and upload it to TikTok. You'd be surprised. So that is definitely a platform for you to investigate.
Yeah, but I intend on doing something because you are an influencer, and I respect you very much, Esther. You're a very bright girl. You know your stuff. You know social media. You know what works, and I am going to take your word for it. I see the results you're getting. I plan on putting out periodic. I'm not sure I can be able to do this every day. Question of having time to do it, but then again, maybe I will have some time. I got some news today. Apparently, I'm going to be doing some less hours at work, so I can spend more time doing what I love doing, like hobbies and all that. So I'm going to be putting out these periodic videos and try to put some kind of a twist into it.
Right.
Probably put a little bit of comedy, and who knows where it can take off.
Yeah, that's true. And I think we'd like to know if you are looking for sponsorship or anyone out there viewing or who will view this later on, and who would be your dream sponsor for your podcast?
I'm going to tell you something. Jenny, who's my partner in this, in the venture, she's a producer of the producer of the show, Pilot Bob's No Delay, but the whole franchise. She's my partner. In terms of sponsorship, we're open to just about anybody. Who's my dream sponsor? I would love to have a major airline. Look at this.
Can you see that? What
I
Sony
tried building planes with my art class when the 77, okay, the 777 Max went down in Ethiopia because my daughter was in Kenya at the time, and due to fly out at the same airport a week later, I decided to have my school art class study and built model planes from scratch. It's beautiful. Super hard to do. Indeed it is. I understand your passion, Robert.
Wow.
I'm just wondering, Sonia, I don't mean to correct you, but is that rather a 767 that was hijacked in Ethiopia that went down near a beach? I don't know if you have time to come back with that, but I think that's what you're talking about. The 77 Max is a Series 8, Series 9. The Max will be more for the 737. I haven't heard of the 77 Max yet. Oh, okay. So Sonia, look, I don't know everything, but if you know something I don't know, listen, I'm willing to learn. If you can tell us a little bit more about that, I'd be more than happy. So I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about sponsorship and your dream sponsor.
A dream sponsor would be a major airline. I would love that.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. So anyone out there who's connected, you gotta help Pilot Bob. He has an incredible show. I've seen little excerpts. It's going to be so informative, so fun, and we need to get it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to have a major airline as a sponsor, but we're open to anybody who wants to sponsor our show. By all means, all sponsors are treated alike. It doesn't matter how much a sponsor is willing to give. It's just the fact that we have a sponsor out there. They're all treated alike, and it will be fun. Yeah. And we could build our show with sponsorship, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to give you a scenario now, and I want you to think. You're given one free ticket to fly with an actual pilot. What kind of plane do you want to be on, and where is the destination?
Oh, my God. You know me so well, okay? I want to be flying a 777. That's the Boeing 777. And I want to be flying to Bora Bora.
Ooh.
Bora Bora, when you're coming in and you see that turquoise water. Oh my God, you feel like jumping from the plane, just dipping in there. Yeah, that would be my dream destination.
Amazing. Well, hopefully that will happen in the near future.
Maybe Bora Bora, maybe their travel industry from down there sponsor our show. Who knows? And you're talking about a getaway, aren't you?
I am, absolutely.
You want to charter my plane? I can charter you this one here.
Yeah, I might be able to afford that one. That's about it.
Look, the engine's quit on it just once, so you don't have to worry about them quitting again.
So from the guests that you have interviewed thus far, do you have a favorite?
Well, listen, all of my look, I appreciate anyone who comes on my show. They're all treated equally. Oh my God, that's a question that it's food for thought.
Right.
You know,
I know your love of Mr. Pichet, so I know that.
Yeah,
I'm
it
thinking
would be
you.
too biased because what he accomplished. I'm just flabbergasted what he did. But I'm going to be really honest with you. I appreciate each and every one of my guests, whether you're a flight attendant, whether you're a captain, whether you're a first or second officer. I appreciate everybody equally, and that's the honest truth.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So you touched on this earlier, and what you said was rather surprising because I wanted to know what advice you would give to someone who is, in fact, has fear of flying.
Wow, well, okay. Listen, I'm going to tell you what I do.
Okay.
Listen, it's a catch-22. Uh, what I do is I drink
Oh,
like this, and I take. It was a 737 Max that crashed. Okay, 737. That's more like it. 737 Max. Okay, yes. Okay, yes. I know what you're talking about, Sonia. It wasn't the 777, 737. That makes more sense. You're right. Yeah. Okay. So what I do is I take
yeah.
what do you call it? A Mickey.
I don't know if a Mickey's that large.
Anyways,
It looks like
about
a,
that
a
much,
large bottle.
and I take two extra strength gravels.
Okay.
Believe you me, it is very effective. I remember the last trip I took. This was with my ex-wife, and is it 2017, 2018, perhaps? I don't remember. We're going to Cuba. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I so drunk. Drunk. Get onto the plane. I was feeling okay. Start talking with my neighbor. The guy is really cool. And then I just feel myself slurring. I'm like slurring. I'm like, and it's like I just crash out. I remember seeing the de-icers de-icing the wings on the plane. And when I woke up, we were 2 hours into the flight. I go, where am I? Where am I? And my ex was so disgusted. She said, "Oh my God, you smell like a big barrel of whiskey."
Oh my God. So why do you think you have a fear of flying? And it's so ironic because of your
It
love
is.
of aviation. Why do you think that is?
I'm going to tell you something else before I answer that question.
Okay.
Many pilots have a fear of flying.
No way. Come on.
That's
Do you
true.
know this for a fact?
It is. And some of them have admitted to me, yes, they are afraid of flying. But the fact that they, they're flying the plane, they have a certain control. So that's what makes it a little bit easier.
Yes, I was going to say when in most aspects of your life, if you have control, it lessens your anxiety. So I absolutely understand that.
The question was, Esther?
Fear of flying. What do you have to say to those who have a fear of flying?
Fear of flying, listen, I'm going to tell you something. When they say that it is the safest way to travel, it's true. The statistics are there. There's so many planes up in the air. Chances of anything happening to you up there are like next to slim. The aircrafts are tested regularly. They are maintained. If you get some turbulence and the plane is shaking, they were built to take all of that turbulence. You can take your plane like the 737 Max, the wings, they can actually be stretched this way, 5 feet up, 5 feet down. These planes take a lot of torture. They are made strong. If the engines, if they run out, if you run out of engines, the flight path that the pilots have, they already have an emergency airport somewhere where they know that they can land. It's part of the route. And these pilots are constantly tested. They have to go for medicals. Their skills are always like pushed to the limit. So you can be very sure you can feel safe in a plane because there is just so much going on in the aviation industry that they are sure that they make it safe. When you see someone, whether it's a woman or a man flying that plane over there, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. That person is qualified, and you can be sure that you are safe. So the way I say that you could, distract yourself from flying and all that, bring some music, in your iPad and your iPhone, whatever. Bring some books, magazines, do crossword puzzles, and take a couple of gravels.
So how do you think the last 2 years has affected the aviation industry?
It has affected the aviation industry enormously. Flights have been like very restrained for business people in terms of recreation. If you want to go on a vacation or something, that has been hit very hard. But a lot of these airline companies have adapted. They've taken up seats in the plane and they were doing cargo. So the planes are transferring to cargo planes, and they were doing that. That's how they got by. Otherwise, a lot of these planes are rented and they cost a fortune. It's very, very expensive. So they went into cargo. They found other ways, for revenue.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So what do you think is the average cost of an airplane?
Well, I can tell you one thing. I know for sure that the airplanes my daughter is working on, the Global 7500, that's $75 million.
Oh my God.
And if you take one of these planes, like I'll give you an example, a 737 MAX can go up to 125 million.
That's an enormous amount of money.
A lot of these companies now, they lease the planes, because what happens, I'll give you an example. You have, these charter companies, there's always a peak in maybe from one period to another. I think it's from August to December.
Right.
That would be the peak in aviation. Well, it all depends in certain regions or what have you. They lease the planes because when they're not using, they don't need 50 planes in the fleet. They can cut down to 25. They return the planes, and then when they need them, they get another 25 planes back. So they usually keep the planes that they have, that they need, actually. And anything else, they could always rent them out.
So where do they rent them from?
They have these leasing companies. They're specialized. These leasing companies, it's a bit like your rental company for a car.
Huh.
You want a car, you want to lease it, you can lease it for a month, a year, whatever. You can lease the car. It's the same thing with planes. You want to rent the plane, you can rent it for the day. It all depends. Usually in aviation, it's more of a lease than a rental. If a lot of times a plane breaks down, they help each other out. The airlines, you might have a plane coming in from the company that is orange, helping out the company that is white. So yeah, they're going to take the flight, work under that particular company, but with their logo, but they're helping each other out. So, there's always a way to accommodate.
So I'm curious, from the pilots and stewards and stewardesses and other guests that you've had on your podcast thus far that I know that are in the can, what is something that you've learned that was totally unexpected?
The responsibility, actually, they're not even called stewardesses anymore. That was back in the 60s and 70s.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm aging.
They're called flight attendants.
Oh, right.
It's a neutral gender.
It is. I apologize to all flight attendants.
Gender neutral. There you go.
Right. Okay.
What amazed me is the flight director. That would be the big boss on the plane of the flight attendants. The responsibility that person has is enormous. They have to overlook at what's going on inside the plane, overlook at, make sure that everything is running well. And they have the briefing with the pilots.
Okay.
To discuss about what's going to be going on. And, they have a pretty big responsibility, as a matter of fact.
Which I think people don't realize or take for granted, and they just think they're glorified waiters, waitresses, etc. So yeah. You're absolutely correct with that. Huh. That is so interesting.
What fascinates me is, I remember reading back when I was on that Alitalia plane. This is the 1979. The size of a swimming pool you have in your backyard, right? That's, if you take a pool with a 24-foot diameter, how much water is in there, Esther? How much water do you think?
I have no idea.
So 24-foot diameter, and the pool is 4 feet high. There are 40,000 liters in that pool. You need that entire pool plus another half of that pool to fill a 747 with fuel. 60,000 liters.
Holy moly.
So imagine the plane itself, how heavy it is. You shove all that fuel in there. Of course, they never put it to uh, what do they call it? The full capacity. They only take so much fuel that they need flying to the destination with maybe a 5-10% extra just in case they have to go into a holding pattern. If there's something that goes wrong, to get bad weather, they have to fly to another airport. So I just telling you the capacity is 60,000 liters and it's 747-400 back in the day. And imagine the plane itself with all that fuel, with all of the luggage that it is carrying, plus all of the passengers. How heavy is that plane? So you have 4 humongous engines with all that thrust. Imagine, I'll give you an example. If you go onto YouTube, you're going to get a pretty good idea of how much thrust comes out of those engines. They're not flying them anymore, the 747s. They were retired from KLM. But at St. Martin Airport, I believe it's called, oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, St. Martin Airport, you see people hanging on to the fence and the runway is just maybe 100 feet away. When the plane is taking off and the engines are spinning full gear, people, even though they're holding on tight to that fence, they are ripped right off and they end up inside the ocean for how strong the thrust is. As a matter of fact, it was an unfortunate incident. One woman lost her grip. She ended up falling and hitting her head on a cement divider. So now they're cracking down on that. I don't know if you can still do that, but there's a lot of videos. If you people are interested, you want to get a little chuckle, you see all of the iPads flying, all of the towels, everything flies right into the ocean and the planes are taking off. So there's a lot of thrust coming out of those engines.
That's unbelievable. You know, actually, Fernando is trying to tell me something. Maybe he can come on for a moment.
Bring him on. Bring him on.
Come on, Fernando. Come on.
Yeah, so
Fernando, hey, bud.
hi. You're talking about Princess Juliana.
Oh, hang on a second. We can't hear you, Fernando.
Oh, sorry. I put on my mic.
Get some feedback. This is Juliana International.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Juliana. Yes, it was on the tip of my tongue. Thanks, Fernando. Thanks for being that light.
Yes, he was trying. He was like motioning to me and bringing me the phone, and I did not understand what he was trying to get at. So.
Princess Juliana, and Saint Martin's is divided in two. You got the French part of the island, Saint Martin,
right?
And Saint Martin is the Dutch part of the island.
Yes.
Look, I always promised myself I have to go there and I have to see what's really cool about that airport is that the planes are coming in. It's like you practically put your hand like this, and of course that's not the case, but you put your hand like that, the wheel of the plane, you can actually like touch it as it's going right over your head on the beach coming in for a landing.
Yes, I've seen so many photos of that. That's amazing. I would love to see that as well.
So cool.
That is very, very cool. So I'm curious what you think of all the rules and regulations now for, public flying of planes. Like wearing the mask and the passport, etc. What do you think about it? When do you think it might be lifted? Just curious.
I don't think it's going to be lifted anytime soon, but already the fact that we're allowed to travel again and, the fact that people on the plane, I think we're privileged, it's already a privilege. Of course, there is a whole bunch of variants of this pandemic out there, and we don't want to take any chances. It's a little inconvenient, but I think the precautions are necessary. Yes, and it's a good thing. And I also like the fact that the cockpit doors right now are locked. You cannot get into the cockpit door. The only thing is that there's been a couple of incidents where the captain has gone to the toilet and he wasn't able to get back in because the co-pilot decided he was going to close the door and he was going to take everybody's fate on that plane in his own hands. German wings. That happened a while back with an Airbus A330.
Oh my goodness. So Robert, every guest who comes on gets this question. It is the question of the season. If you could turn back the time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell him?
Esther, I'm going to tell you something, and this may sound funny, And I feel privileged that I'm able to say this. I have no regrets. I have done everything I wanted to do. I wanted to be a bus driver. I was a bus driver for 31 years. I was always thrilled. I was freaking out with airplanes, airports, the whole thing. I work at an airport. I work for a firm that has everything to do with aviation. I drive buses that I drive the passengers from one airport to another. I'm in the aviation business. I have done everything I always wanted to do. If I were to die tonight, to be honest with you, because I even have the girlfriend, the woman of my dreams. I have her right now. She's in my life. Such a sweetheart. She's so great.
Yes.
I'm blessed to have her. I have the most wonderful kids. That my kids are doing well. Listen, Esther, the only thing I didn't do is I didn't see LA. I didn't see California. I'd like to do Europe. Those are the only regrets. If I were to go back to age 18, look, I've done everything I had to do. So I have no regrets. I'm sorry. I did not, I didn't sensationalize that question, but I'm blessed. I've done everything I had to do.
You didn't sensationalize it. You were honest and organic and real. And you are the first guest to ever answer with, I have no regrets. I've done exactly what I've wanted to do.
Exactly.
And maybe there's a few little things I want to do now. That says a lot. So, wow.
But
kudos to you. That's quite amazing.
I'm going to tell you something as well. I had a dream to go into broadcasting.
Right.
And listen, I'm doing it right now. I got my own show on Monday nights. I got the show with you on Wednesdays.
Yes.
I got the most amazing people. I got Patty Saragosa, such a sweetheart. She plays my TV wife on Daily Struggles.
Yes, she does an amazing job. And we miss Daily Struggles.
Listen, we're talking. We're going to bring it back. I got Jenny in my life, who's just a sensational person. I got you. I got the three, and I got my girlfriend and my kids. I got my mom and my dad. I got the most sensational people in my life. I have been around other people who have treated me unfairly. I got the wrong end of the stick.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Right now, I'm at a place I can say that I'm comfortable with my life. I'm very happy with my life, and I couldn't ask for more. Oh, yes, I could ask for more.
So, yes, go ahead.
Pilot Bob to take off. I want all of the productions I am working on, all the people who are working with me. I want to experience success. I want my sweetheart to be part of the success that I want to experience. And all the people that I have in my life who have been true to me, who've been dear to me, who are supporting, who are there. I want success more for them and then after for me. That's the way I think. That's my motto in life.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful, Robert, or should I say Pilot Bob. So what does the future hold for you, Pilot Bob?
That's a great question. I have a lot of projects. One of them is I would really, really like to make Pilot Bob a top-notch production, a broadcast. I would like to do live on-the-spot broadcasts. I would like to do remote locations, on location shooting, filming. I want to do something significant with that. And also all the productions that I'm doing, I want them to flourish. And you know what? I got you great people in my life, like I said before, but I also want anyone who's great and is good to me. I just want them to be part of my life. I want them to share with me whatever is out there, whatever is good.
Well, I know in my heart of hearts that everything that you want will come true to fruition. And you absolutely deserve it. And you've been an absolute joy to have on.
Oh,
in
wow.
all seriousness.
What a ball.
This is amazing. Now, I know that your alter ego has a show coming up on Monday. So who is going to be on that show?
I got country singer Glenn Kane, who's going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame in West Virginia. And he has played with the most amazing country people out there, Waylon Jennings, Conway Twitty, Loretta Lynn. He has been around all over the place, and he's part of Big Records.
Okay.
Records is run by Mark Rosner, Rosner Management. and he also has the Roku channel called Rise Up TV. And Daily
Amazing.
Struggles is on there, and you should absolutely go on Daily Struggles to check.
Oh, yeah. My favorite all-time sitcom for sure.
And you did a great job as a reporter in there.
Oh my God. Stop.
And we have plans for you.
Oh, I'm up to it, Robert. I would love to be part of it. I love that show. I love that character, Evie Breeze. And it actually was the start of everything. Once I did that character, that was it.
Evie Breeze.
Yeah, that was the name of the character.
Esther's Breeze, Evie Breeze.
I know. Ironic, right? It was all meant to be. It was
Wow,
all meant to be.
That's hey, Esther. You and I have something really special coming up on May 20th. Now that we're here,
Yes. Why don't you tell the audience about that?
well, Esther and I'm not going to be in my pilot's uniform, but Esther and I are going to be co-hosting an event in Montreal at Melrose Restaurant. That's May 20th on Friday. We urge you people to come and join in on the fun. It's a great place, great food. There's going to be a variety show going on. We're going to have Teresa Pichano, who's a producer, a Montreal producer.
Yes, we love Teresa.
She's an actor, an amazing actor. She's a writer. We also have Charles Vaccaro is going to be there. We have as well Claudio Silvio Capri. There you go.
Oh, is there something you haven't told us? My fiance?
Yeah, we got engaged.
Seriously?
Yeah, we're engaged. Yes.
Oh my God! Congratulations! You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
And it wasn't on a
News.
flight. And it wasn't on a flight. It was here on the ground.
Right. Oh, so now you're really going to be grounded.
Oh my God, jeez. Well, you know what? That doesn't fly too well with me.
I know. Well, there's no more delay. What can I say?
No delay about it. So,
That's amazing. Congratulations to you both. Thank you so much for
you.
letting us know. Wow. I am thrilled for you. That's amazing. I don't know what to say now. But thank you. And I'm really happy for you. You deserve it.
well, thank you so much for being happy for me, and I'm happy for you too. I'm happy that you and I are going to be co-hosting that show. Wow.
Yes, the Melrose Restaurant. I'm really looking forward to that.
And Esther, I think that this is a forefront of things to come. We're going to be having a lot of fun. I told you I'm going to be doing some emceeing, and it's going to happen, Esther.
Yeah, I believe you, and I can feel that that's what the future holds, and I'm really, really excited about it. I want to thank you so much for coming on today. I want you to stay for our after show, and thank everyone for tuning in. You've all been amazing. You all participated. It's been a fabulous show. And May 19th, Esther's Breeze will be interviewing John Moyer, who is a hypnotist. He is a comedian, and he's a filmmaker. So that should be an interesting show as well. So thank you all so very much for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Ciao for now. So I will have to, unfortunately, Fernando is frozen, so I will have to do the signing off once again.
Tell him to dress warm.
Yeah.
Nice winter coat.
All right. Thank you guys so much.